Just Stop Oil protesters shut large parts of the M25 this morning, despite police attempts to foil their plans. Climate campaigners climbed gantries on the North and South Circular less than 24 hours after the Met launched what they called a significant proactive policing operation to identify and arrest people they believed were behind the protests. Our political correspondent Simon Harris has the latest.
Monday morning on the M25, and for many drivers it was the rush hour from hell. It didn't come as a surprise to the police. They knew environmental activists were planning to bring parts of the motorway to a standstill. But they were still unable to stop members of Just Stop Oil from climbing onto gantries.
Hello, my name is Louise. I'm 24 years old and I'm here. I'm here because I don't have a future. And you might hate me for doing this, and you're entitled to hate me.
Louise's comments provoked a backlash on Twitter. Nikki wrote, "I'm a carer, joined the M25 at 6 a.m. to get to work via the M11. Finally got on the M11 at 8:40 a.m. My manager told me to take the day off as I would have been 4 hours late for my shift. You all deserve everything thrown at you. Take your anger out on the government. Day's pay lost." Another appeal to British Airways saying, "BA, please help my brother who missed Dallas flight due to M25. He has been here to say goodbye to me. I've terminal cancer." Just Stop Oil used a drone to film the protests and the gridlock they caused to the motorway in Essex, Hertfordshire, North London and Surrey. With sections of the M25 closed, traffic was diverted off the motorway with inevitable consequences. There were miles of tailbacks on local roads, like this one near London Colney. Surrey police released these pictures showing a protester on a gantry and then under arrest. Scotland Yard said it became aware last week of the planned disruption, timed to coincide with the start of COP27 in Egypt.
We worked around the clock actually to try and identify those people who were conspiring to cause public nuisance, to identify them and to arrest them.
Do you accept you didn't get enough of them?
We didn't, of course. Some slipped through the net, and we saw serious disruption caused this morning by this criminal act.
Just Stop Oil said its founder Roger Hallam is thought to be one of those arrested before today's action. The organisation has been unable to contact him. And it's vowed to continue the protests daily unless the government agrees to stop issuing gas and oil drilling licences. Simon Harris, ITV News, London Colney.
Good evening. A slap in the face for Londoners. That's how the Mayor has described reports today that Sean Bailey is being considered for a peerage. The Tory Assembly member was forced to quit as chair of the Police and Crime Committee last year after it emerged he'd attended a Christmas party during lockdown in December 2020. Now, rumours are Boris Johnson wants him in the House of Lords. Our political correspondent Simon Harris has the latest.
Sean Bailey's political apprenticeship began 15 years ago when the Tories chose him as parliamentary candidate for Hammersmith. He fought and lost a general election before finally winning a seat on the London Assembly. Then came the big one. In 2021, he went head-to-head with Sadiq Khan in the postponed mayoral election. Again, Bailey lost, but now appears to be on his way to the House of Lords.
He's got a lot of interesting ideas on youth work, on crime, on race issues in London. He's got a lot to say, and he'd have made a very good mayor of London.
But Bailey's next step up the political ladder comes less than 12 months after this picture emerged of his campaign team apparently celebrating at Tory Party HQ during the 2020 Christmas lockdown. Bailey apologised, saying it was a serious error of judgment at a time when Londoners were making immense sacrifices to keep us all safe, and I regret it wholeheartedly. In the past, Sean Bailey has declined to talk to us about the party, although City Hall Conservatives say he wasn't fined. He was, however, forced to resign as chair of the London Assembly Police and Crime Committee.
You would have thought that it might not be appropriate for him to now be selected to join the House of Lords, which of course is a lifetime appointment, carries with it £300 a day.
Despite his fall from grace, Bailey is reported to be on former Prime Minister Boris Johnson's resignation honours list.
If it's true, I think this cronyism is a slap in the face to all those who lost their lives during the pandemic. It's a slap in the face for all those who respected the law, all those families who couldn't grieve at funerals, all those families who couldn't celebrate big birthdays and at weddings. The idea that somebody who plays a role in making the law and is alleged to have broken the law can now be rewarded by a seat in the House of Lords, beggars belief.
Sean Bailey declined to comment today, but before taking a seat in the Lords, he will need the approval of a vetting commission, which decides whether candidates for peerages are suitable. Simon Harris, ITV News.
Thousands of passengers travelling into London tomorrow will face yet more disruption, this time because of tube strikes. Last-ditch talks between Transport for London and the RMT union failed to resolve a dispute over pay, jobs and conditions. There'll be limited or no tube services running on the Underground, and last-minute changes are expected on other services, as Simon Harris now reports.
Londoners have become used to being collateral damage in rows between trade unions and transport bosses. If it's not the trains, it's the tubes. And tomorrow, RMT members on the Underground will go on strike.
You should avoid travelling on the tube, as we expect there will be limited or no service all day.
I'm just trying to work out in my head how I'm going to get there now that I have to go on an overground train somehow around London.
You know, it puts the city on its knees, really, in terms of people travelling to work.
I'll have to leave a lot earlier, take a lot more time. But there's nothing else you can really do.
The strikes began in March. Tomorrow's will be number 6. At the heart of the dispute are 2 disagreements. One over TfL's plan to do away with between 500 and 600 station jobs by not filling vacancies, and another row over pensions.
A review of Transport for London's pension scheme was one of the strings attached to the government's offer of long-term funding. TfL says, despite that, it has no proposals at this stage to alter the pensions. But the RMT says that's not good enough. It wants a guarantee in writing.
And that is where this dispute has been for 8 months, bogged down with both sides batting the same arguments back and forth.
What we fear is that people's pensions will get far worse. They will be made to retire when they're older. They will have to pay in more, and their benefits, i.e. what they get in their pension, will be worse. And we will not tolerate that for our members.
We've been required by central government to undergo a review of our pension scheme. That is just a review. There are no proposals for change. That review is not due to complete until early next year. We can't preempt the outcome of that review.
Although the pension review is a government demand, the Department for Transport seemed keen to distance itself from the fallout. A spokesperson told us Transport in London is devolved and spending decisions, including any potential changes to pension schemes, lie with the Mayor and TfL. Tomorrow's disruption is expected to spill over into Friday's rush hour, with the Underground unlikely to be back to normal before mid-morning. Simon Harris, ITV News on the Tube.